Hey everybody, Jess Intuitive Angel Healer here with your Grounded. Thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to my podcast. The angels are talking. Are you listening? This is a story of angelic and universal miracles. This podcast shares uplifting stories about spirit, the everyday miracles created by your angels, and each week will feature personal, enlightening angel stories and small life-changing miracles that have occurred in my life, as well as tips and tricks to connect with your own angels. So this is and of course, no angel miracle show would be complete without our amazing audience. So I've included one angel miracle story guest participant each week to come on the show and share their amazing encounter with spirit. So let's get to the magic and the mystery of the angelic realm. You guys know me. My name's Jessie Campbell, also known as Jess Intuitive Angel Healer. I'm the founder of You're Grounded. I founded it in 2018 after I went on my spiritual awakening in 2017. So I've just celebrated my 2-year anniversary with You're Grounded and in July. And I thought, what perfect way to elevate my business and my message of spirit than to create a podcast about miracles. And I thought, while I'm creating a show about miracles, maybe I should put my own miracle because my life feels at some point that it was a miracle. I feel that my life is divinely led. And I look at all of the things that I've been through not as necessarily obstacles, but apparently my karmic self was very stubborn, still is. And I needed to go through all these karmic lessons and all these journeys and all these hurts and all this pain to help fuel my spiritual journey, which is to help empower and enlighten the minds of others that feel stuck or that truly want to do better but just don't know how. And I have a different gift that I can connect with souls. I'm the connector of the souls that nobody else can get through to. I've touched some very, very low vibrating energy people that were in the depths of the darkness, and I simply went in and touched their heart like a child and helped it glow and helped it warm up again. A lot of us encounter pain and hardships through our life, and society teaches us to suppress the pain, to close off our hearts, to never love again. Well, I took that not very good advice, and here I am. Still, I'm gotten way better than I was. But I would say that it is a constant everyday battle for me to get up and undo all the programming that has been done by others. So with that, I would like to share with you my journey to becoming an intuitive angel healer. So before I was known as just Intuitive Angel Healer, I was just a regular girl, part of the community. Since 2008, I've been in the medical field. I started out as a CNA in nursing homes. Then I've been a behavioral mental health tech, worked my way up to going to college, getting my degree, in 2012, became a medical assistant, had my associate's degree, almost got my bachelor's, about 30 credits away shy from that. And that's where my story really started to get interesting. That is when I had my spiritual awakening, and my story may sound like a lot of yours out there. I was living the dream. I thought I was getting everything, going through school, and then I hit my my divorce. After 10 years of being with the person that I thought I was going to be with for the rest of my life, I found out that it was not going to be that way. It was going to end, and it was not going to end pretty, because our marriage had become way too toxic to breathe anymore. So start back with, we'll start from the beginning. Because I'm a visual learner and visual speaker. I speak in many metaphors, and I would like to share with you a little bit about where I come from, my background. And I hope that when you listen to this story, you don't feel sorry for me, because that would make me a victim. I would hope that you are empowered by my story and know that no matter how hard it gets or what this lifetime brings you, you can still make it through this life. So I grew up in Abilene, Texas, normal kid, born in the 80s, living the middle class life. Unfortunately, I was born into a lot of generational curses, aka karma. What is karma? Karma is a lesson that you have created in this lifetime. And when you don't choose to learn from that lesson, it keeps repeating over and over again. And unfortunately, the shadows of our parents doesn't help that at all. And my childhood was overshadowed by the struggle of my parents. My dad, unfortunately, was an alcoholic. He had addiction issues. He had inner child issues, did not know how to express anything. Then you got my mom, trying to be a parent of 2 kids, trying to go to work and do her thing, but not having the knowledge that she needed to pull herself or us out of any of this at the moment when we were children. So my parents tried to do better for us and moved to Albuquerque when I was 9. And this movement to Albuquerque, unfortunately, was overshadowed by all of our generational curses. And our family dismantled when I was 14. I ran away. My brother had ran away. My mom started, doing her own thing, trying to figure out how to break away. And my dad ended up moving to UNM area in Albuquerque, which is by the college, and became one of those guys that just sit and drink and do nothing, because he was so broken by the whole experience of, he didn't really think we would ever break apart. Unfortunately, when I was 16, he passed away. I feel he passed away from a broken heart. I got a call. Well, I didn't get a call. I walked in my house that I grew up in, and I still live there with my mom. And unfortunately, I was at school and my mom was at work, and my mom's boyfriend was the only one there. And when I walked through the door at age 16, I got told that my dad had passed from a massive heart attack. And I would really say that that is where I really created all these, I added to my generational karmic curses already. And at this moment, I think I added some abandonment and some new issues to that. I didn't think losing my dad at 16 would affect me that bad because I was still young, and I thought, hey, I'm 16. And I was still mad at him, and I was still resentful for all the nights that he wasted away being angry and yelling. And thankfully, I was never abused physically by my parents. The emotional abuse came in from my dad when he was, looking back on it, trying to deal with his life and kids and not knowing how to do it. And unfortunately, he didn't get the knowledge or the strength or the courage he needed to get out of that. So I have spent most of my life trying to figure out how exactly to overcome this, because now I'm 39 and I swear I am going through the same karmic generational curses that I thought I could run away from my whole life. A little funny thing about karma and karmic lessons, they don't go away until you learn them. Facts. So if you think you can run away from your emotions, your feelings, your life purpose, guess what? It's not going to happen. I've spent over 25 years trying to do that, probably more. And I'm here today to tell you that the pain runs deep. The wounds, they hurt. The pain that I've experienced going through not just my life lessons and trials and tribulations, but to add on to going into karmic things that if I would have just done it a different way, guess what? Don't even put that mindset out there, because if I would have done it a different way, I would still be here struggling, and I would not be here telling you about my story of empowerment and how I made it out of the struggle for once and for all. So after my dad passed away at 16, I got pregnant at 16 and I had an angel baby. Unfortunately, my daughter was born at 5 months. Her name's Delilah. And Delilah needed at least one more month to live, to be able to live, because no baby's lungs are developed enough to breathe at 5 months. So I went to a doctor's appointment, and it was a checkup. I was living with my boyfriend of 4 years that I met when I was 14, and I was with him until I was 18. And at 16, I was at this doctor's appointment. The night before, apparently I was going into labor. I had no idea because I was 16, and my legs were in extreme pain that night, but I thought, hey, I'm going to the doctor's, just like we always do as humans, and always say, hey, it doesn't matter. It's no big deal. I'll be there in the morning. So I went there and I told them what was happening. They said, okay, can you go get a urine sample? And I went to go sit down on the toilet to just pee in the cup, and my water sac, my amniotic sac, intact, fell out in between my legs. And I started screaming, and they were like, it's okay if you can't use the bathroom, because they didn't know what was going on in there. And they opened the door, and I'm sure a lot of those women share, God bless you, nurses that were there with me during my time in Albuquerque. Thank you for being my angels, because I know you guys had some trauma after experiencing that with me, because lo and behold, I'm standing there and my whole amniotic sac is literally to my knees, intact. And they said, go to the bathroom, or you've got to get this baby back in you. It's not time yet. So they were trying to help save me, and I laid in the hospital bed tilted so I could try to save this beautiful angel. And since I had eaten something that morning, I got nauseous, which caused me to throw up. But when I threw up, it caused me to push, and it caused me to push her out. So to add injury to insult, I got to deliver my beautiful angel as a stillborn. I think at 16 was one of my roughest ages, because not only did I lose my father, I ran away because I didn't understand, and I met somebody who was terrible. They were 3 years older than me, and I really got to learn what my sheltered life was, because when I moved in, I became one of the family members. I will say thank you to his mom for taking care of me. I do appreciate that I had a place to live. I learned what it was to not eat. Unfortunately, they had 4 kids of their own, and who was I? Just some girlfriend who showed up. So they really had no responsibility to me. And I learned what it was to not have food, to have no drinking water, because your sewer system has emptied over outside into your drinking water. So now you can't drink your water because it's tainted, and you have to go and get water from town in jugs. And if you don't, you're going to be thirsty. I had no heat because they weren't able to pay the propane bill for the trailer. So we sat, and it was actually warmer outside. We sat inside with coats on. I struggled with this, and we stayed at various different family members' houses. Each one seemed like an even crazier experience than the last one. Again, I learned real quick what it was to be an adult, because I'm only 16. Well, I was 14 when I started out this whole journey. 16, I made it to about 18 with him, and thankfully we got our own place when I was about 17, but he was a massive cheater and liar and very mentally abusive, very physically abusive. Just the whole thing was not good at all. And I woke up at 18 when I got told that he was diagnosed as bipolar, and I was smart enough, thankfully, and said, hey, I am not old enough to take care of another adult. I had no experience about the medical field. I was just living in Albuquerque, working, at fast food places. No idea about how to take care of bipolar. And all I knew is I came home and this guy would have our ties to our robes hanging up in the closet and like a noose. And he would tell me that my dog was my son. And when I drove him home the very last day and I said, I've had enough, I can't do this. This is too much for me. He literally, I was driving and he started punching the window, and I'm driving about 60 miles an hour down a back road in Albuquerque to the South Valley. And he starts punching the window, and then he punches it and it goes through the window. And he put that in my mouth, told me to taste it, and also put his hands over my eyes while I was driving and told me he was God and that I would be able to see no problem. Thankfully, we didn't die. Thankfully, my angels were with us, and I dropped him off at his family's and told them I was done. And I incurred a lot of hate and anger from these people. And so after I had my own place, because the morning that I kicked him out was because we had gotten a trailer of our own, and it was right around the corner from my mom's. I got that put in my name, and the lady liked me. So that morning when I got into an argument, as I always did with my very abusive boyfriend, I told him, don't throw a cup. I had no shoes on. I had my nightgown, and I said, please don't throw anything. Well, he threw a cup. It was glass. I stepped on it, nearly severed off 2 of my toes on the bottom of my foot, and I screamed so loud that the lady that rented us, the manager of the park, could hear us at the very front of the park. I was that loud because it was that excruciating. Literally almost severed off my toe, the balls. And because I was really poor back then, all I could do was bandage it up, pour a lot of antiseptic on it and hydrogen peroxide. And thankfully my toes went back together. They glued back together, the skin did, but you can see on the bottoms where it happened. So that is when I kicked him out and said, you gotta go, I don't care, we're done. I've nearly almost cut my toes off right now. And this caused him to stalk me for a year. Back then we had phones, this was in the early 90s, so we had phones that plugged into a tower outside. And I would come home and my house would be, he came in and stole stuff out of it, left all my doors open, left my dog outside. He would just come in and do random things and leave messages on my phone and tell me that he was watching me through my window and he liked watching me sleep. I only knew that he broke into my house because he had stolen my photo album, and this photo album has pictures, I still have it to this day, pictures from my childhood to my dad passing to everything. It's every picture that means anything to me is in this photo album. And he made me meet him one day. I finally he tried to manipulate me, so I manipulated him, and we finally met, and I got back my photo album from him. And that is when I ended up letting my brothers and everyone come move in with me because I was so scared. Unfortunately, this didn't stop until I moved. I moved into an apartment after a year, got a new place, was going to be there, and I thought, hey, you know, I'm loving life. I got a job being the person that signs you up for ADT. I was feeling good, and then a girl knocked on my door. And when she knocked on my door, she was selling magazines, and she's like, hey, you want to come sell magazines? And I was like, a month away from being 19. I said, yeah, I need to get out of Albuquerque. So I jumped on the magazine crew, became a manager, did that of my own sales crew. I did that for about 6 years, got off the road because, you know, going around for 6 years across the country is tiring. And I was about 24, 26, about 24, and I knew that I wanted to start a family, start doing stuff, go to school. I'm a little backwards. So then I did some direct sales, got all that out of my system, and decided after I met my ex-husband in 2008 that I wanted to settle down, have a family, go to school, do all the things I didn't do in my 20s. So I did. I went to school. I became a medical assistant. Thought I was doing everything. Had my daughter at age 26, took about 6 pregnancy tests because I literally woke up pregnant one day. After 15 years of waiting, I finally was pregnant. I finally had this miracle baby. All those years of waiting and anticipating, I felt it was very unfair because I would meet, you know, I meet people, and it's not anybody else's problem, by the way, when you lose a child. And if you didn't lose a child with your new partner, it is definitely not their fault. But unfortunately, when you hold this emotion in, it's really hard to let that out and not let it out with the right person. So I was with my ex for 6 years. And it's funny because the week that I found out I was pregnant, I also signed up for in vitro because I finally talked to my ex. He had 5 kids, 4 actually at the time. He had 4, and I really didn't think it was fair just, you know, because I wanted a kid to make him have a kid. That's not how it works. But we talked about it. We were together for 6 years. I said, hey, can we please, I think we should have a kid together. And finally, we were both on the same page. And I was like, let's do this in vitro. We got up to do the in vitro. And that's one of my miracles, is that the angels literally saved me heartache. And for any of the women out there that are currently doing in vitro, my heart goes to you. I have plenty of friends who can't get pregnant. I have 2 angel babies. And I have 1 miracle child, Kylie Bear. I understand the miracles of life. And I'm so glad that the angels gave me an opportunity to be a parent. I thank myself every day. And that's why my daughter, that's why I got on this journey. She is why I am inspired every day to practice self-care, to fight through adversity, conflict, whatever it is. My daughter has helped get me there. Unfortunately, the all good things seem to end, or that's what I thought, and I thought I had everything correct. And then in 2017, my marriage reached a breaking point through all the stress and all the stuff that we incurred over the years, that we just couldn't be together anymore. And I told my counselor at one point that I would stay in my marriage no matter what, because it was best for my daughter. But you know what? I looked at my daughter one day trying to run away from the madness, and I said, that's enough. I don't care what's going to happen. I'm leaving. And in 2017, I made that leap of faith to tell my ex-husband, I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. Do what you will to me, as I got threatened quite a bunch, because it was more that he didn't want to let me go. And our toxicity built up, and we started our journey. I started my spiritual awakening then, and my ex took off with my kid to another state. We went through a whole lifetime movie. He kidnapped my kid because he wanted so badly for us to be back together, and unfortunately, when I'm done, there's no amount of talking to fix it with me. And he being one of my karmic lessons, we were done. With the month that I sat trying to figure out how to get my daughter back from this person, the angels started enlightening me. They started showing me repetitive numbers, because at that moment, I think my depression hit an all-time high. Every hyena, low vibrational person in the world was coming out to get me, because it's like a little flag goes up when I get sad and depressed in my life and I'm giving up. All the demons come out and they're like, whoa, Jess is giving up. Let's help her out and make her never want to go back to the light side. So I was about to give up, and this time, I've always said I'm going to give up, but this time I was past the point of being able to move forward anymore. So I met my current boyfriend 6 months after all this madness had happened. And I started changing my mindset. I started having a better attitude. I started feeling good. I started breaking away from the madness. Little by little, my veil was coming off. My blindfold was fully coming off. I started seeing 777 and 711. And I saw it so much that it couldn't be a coincidence anymore. And I found out that there are no coincidences in this lifetime. I started finding out that 777 means let go of your fears. 711 is all about letting go of control and letting the divine lead and fulfilling your spiritual purpose. So I saw these numbers so much that they sent me down to go figure out, what does all this mean? Well, I ended up stumbling upon angel card reading and spiritual coaching, and I thought this was something only pastors of a church could do. And I found out, wow, I would love to be a spiritual grounding coach. I'm great at that. And it helps me to keep continuing to do me. So funny thing enough is when I went to go get my mailbox for my business, You're Grounded, in 2018, my mailbox number was 777. I knew that this couldn't be a coincidence, and I knew that You're Grounded had a very huge divine purpose, whatever it was. I knew I was just going to follow it. So I followed it, and here I am. 2 years later, actually, 3 years later, I am much happier, much freer. And since I've went through my karmic lessons, I've learned 2 of them. One is karmic resentment is one of my karmic lessons, and inner peace is my second karmic lesson, among all the rest of them. I spent so many years being sad and unhappy about my life and playing the victim and thinking nobody cared, nobody loved me. Why me? Why me? Why me? This spiritual journey that I've came through has taught me it's not about why me. I'm the reason, silly. I'm the whole reason why my life has been either good or bad. And if it was bad, it's not because the angels were trying to punish me or the universe was trying to punish me. It was simply because I need to learn. You learn these spiritual lessons to get spiritual growth. I haven't eaten meat in 5 months. Personal choice. I could have been a vegetarian really years and years ago. I love a good steak, by the way. Filet mignon, I am there all day. But I didn't stop eating meat because, just because, ooh, I'm a spiritual person. No. My whole purpose of being a spiritual person is to let you know that I am an earth angel, but I am also a human being. The difference between human beings and angels is angels have no ego. Unfortunately, I am equipped with an ego. Her name is Jessica. Gotta learn a name for my shadow side. Got Jessie, Jessica, and oh crap, running hot. That would be my shadow side because I don't even know a name. It's that bad. It could be Maleficent. My shadow side is from my ego pushing all those things down that I thought I could run away with that I didn't think I had to face. Well, you know what? It was really hard to face all these spiritual truths that I've faced over the years. But I feel so much freer. I am living my authentic purpose. When I first started out, I was very resentful that everyone that I've spent my whole life trying to build up and be in my life and be a part of, and I've tried to be a people pleaser, and I thought if I did this, I could be there, and I ended up alone. That was the spiritual journey. Awakening is helps you break down your foundation to where it's supposed to be so you can start back up. It was really lonely having friends that I've known for over 20 years stop talking to me. Tell me what, oh, you talk to angels, do you? How's that angel business working out? You successful in it yet? I've had a lot of bitter pills to swallow, but I've also traded in those bitter pills to know that I'm not a bad person. I'm just misunderstood. I've been misunderstood my whole life. I'm a Pisces. I have an element of every 12 zodiac houses. You'll never understand me. You'll never understand any Pisces that you meet. Promise, don't try it. We are magical creatures. Magic is not meant to be understood. And along those lines, I'm an earth angel. I am here not to fit in. I am here to enlighten your mind, to help you move forward, and to help you understand your spiritual truths with some compassion and love. Because if anybody would have just given me some compassion and love during the hardest trials of my life, I might have come out not so harsh and tarnished. But it's okay, because I forgive myself for trying so hard to be something that I'm not. I forgive everyone in my life who has ever been mean, hateful, abusive, because I know that you weren't giving the knowledge of understanding. And I know somewhere deep down in there, I know it hurts you that you hurt me. This life was meant to love. My whole life I've been called a crybaby. I've been told I was too sensitive. I've been called every name in the book. And then I got instilled that aggressiveness because society teaches us that we need to be aggressive to be successful. We need to take everyone down and, if screw everyone, not listen. And, I've adopted that habit over 25, 30 years, 39 years I've adopted that habit. I've had my days where my reputation definitely precedes me. I think people love reactions from me because I'm like a wind-up doll. And in the past, if you made me angry enough or you hurt me bad enough, I was going to show you. It's going to show you. I showed everybody. I showed everybody what a complete asshole I could be. And for that, I'm sorry. But the angels have taught me, just like Dr. Seuss, those that mind don't matter and those that matter don't mind. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I love me. And I know I have an extremely huge purpose, rhyme, and reason why the angels have not taken my number. I know that age 19, I got in a rollover. The girl was driving 100 miles an hour and weaving in and out of traffic. There was 6 people, including myself, in that car. Nobody had seatbelts on, and it was 9 o'clock at night. And we should have all died in that car wreck. We should have all flown through the window. But on that night in Atlanta, it was not my time to die. It was nobody's time to die. And after we flipped 3 times, because she weaved in and out of traffic, and after we got done flipping 3 times, we landed on my side, and my beautiful elbow here, you can see a little bit. That's called, they had to reconnect the tendons in my elbow because my elbow just went down the road like that. That's the only thing that happened though. The angels sent a whole carload of nurses that happened to be going to a Halloween party that night and stopped off and saw this wreck and stopped off and helped us all make sure everything was good before the ambulance even showed up. I have had very many instances my whole life that I shouldn't be alive. And when I say thank you for waking me up today, angels, I mean it with my whole heart. There's been moments when I couldn't handle my life and I was contemplating the end. There's been moments when I've hurt so bad and been abused so much that I was at my rope's end, praying for the angels to take me because I couldn't take any more. I have been on the downside of up and the upside of down and everywhere in between. I am an intuitive angel healer. My name is Jessie Campbell. I am the founder of You're Grounded. I understand what it means to struggle, and I understand what it means to hurt. And I understand love. And I know that that is what I'm here to spread, is love. So I know that I've shared a few points about my life. My life has been all over the place. I can't say it's been all bad or all good. It's been all worth it. That's what it's been. And I'm going to continue to do what I do, whether it's by myself, standing alone on my podium to share my little messages of how the angels can help you, or if I have 50,000 people behind me. If you need help and you've run out of hope, I really hope that I can help. My story is the encouragement, the reason why I made You're Grounded, and it's the reason why I'm starting these podcasts. These podcasts are inspirational and uplifting stories about miracles. Miracles, once you get into the divine flow, miracles are everyday life. They're not that uncommon. They are uncommon when we sit in the vibration of negativity. When we sit and wonder, what is life all worth? Well, when you're living your purpose, you know what it's worth. I hope that my journey can help to inspire you, and I hope that this podcast series of miracles can also help to inspire you to keep going, to keep trying, and to keep spreading the love and the light. I can't wait for you to meet some of my special guests that I have lined up. I have a coach from UK. His name is Dean Fox. He has an amazing story of inspiration, of living the high life, making six figures to almost taking his own life. I have a lot of other cool people as well. And I can't wait to have you guys be a part of all the special magic and love of the angelical realm. Life is what you make it, and uncommon. They are uncommon when we sit in the vibration of negativity, when we sit and wonder, what is life all worth? Well, when you're living your purpose, you know what it's worth. I hope that my journey can help to inspire you, and I hope that this podcast series of miracles can also help to inspire you to keep going, to keep trying, and to keep spreading the love and the light. I can't wait for you to meet some of my special guests that I have lined up. I have a coach from UK. His name is Dean Fox. He has an amazing story of inspiration, of living the high life, making six figures to almost taking his own life. I have a lot of other cool people as well. And I can't wait to have you guys be a part of all the special magic and love of the angelical realm. Life is what you make it, and I hope that you guys make it great. I want to take today and I want to thank my angels, my archangels. I want to thank you for always being there, even when I've had a hard time believing. Thank you, angels. And thank you out there, beautiful souls, for tuning in to my first episode, my debut episode of Your Angels Are Talking. Are you listening? Inspirational stories of angelic miracles. Tune in next week where we will share our first official episode.